because 2021 is gonna be the best year ever. Back at it again with my dance moves. Ooh, ooh, ooh. 2021 is gonna be better. Oh yeah, it's gonna be better. Ooh, 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 ooh. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica and I'm so happy that you could be here today. And if you haven't checked out my last video where I give you my favorite top 10 books that I read for this year, go ahead and check that video out. As many of you probably know, I haven't had this channel for very long, so thank you so much for your continued support. I really appreciate all of you guys. So your girl is almost at 100 subscribers and you guys made that happen. So again, thank you so much. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure you go ahead and do that so you don't miss out on any new videos. Again, thank you so much for your endless support. So as 2021 is fast approaching, I have certain reading goals that I'd like to accomplish for next year. I don't really like to say the word resolution because sometimes if I don't complete that resolution, I end up feeling like a really big failure. But I do have some reading goals just to really maximize my reading and just increase my overall reading experience for next year. So I really want to share that with you guys. As well as I get asked a lot of questions on how to maximize your reading, how to read more. Jessica, how do you read so many books in a month? So I'm going to be sharing different tips and tricks that may increase your reading for 2021 so you can have the best reading year ever. So if you want to know some of my reading goals as well as how to maximize your reading for next year, keep on watching. So my first reading goal is, obviously it's probably the most basic one, but it's to read more. Now, I know this is probably like every reader's main goal is to increase their reading and to read more, but I do like a good challenge. I always try to beat my number for the year. So for next year, I really want to amp up my reading, even though I do read a lot. But again, I like a little bit of a challenge. So for next year, I really want to complete 65 books. Now, I know that may be a lot to some of you, and to some it may not seem like a lot at all. But for a working adult like I am, who has like hobbies outside of just reading and working and going to the gym and exercising and all of that good stuff, I read when I can and I try to squeeze in as much as I possibly can in during a week, during a day, during the month. With the 65 books a year, that pretty much boils down to like 5 books a month roughly, which is totally doable for me. That's actually about the pace that I read at now, is about 5 books a month. So if I keep with that, I'm sure I'll be able to complete this number of 65. Again, I'm not like holding myself to that number because life happens, you know, holidays, you take a vacation, sometimes you can't always squeeze in reading. So I'm not gonna like stress myself out if I don't complete 65 books for the year, but it's definitely a number that I would love to achieve. I know that I can because typically I do about 50-55 books a year. So 65 books is just a slight push for me, but I know that I can do it. I'm gonna challenge myself, but I'm not gonna like stress myself out if I don't accomplish it. All right, so how can you maximize your reading to read as many books as possible? So the first thing is to make sure that you set a goal that you can easily obtain. If you know that you only can read 2 books a month, stick with that and don't stress yourself out about it. Reading is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be something that relaxes your mind. So only stick to something if you know that you can absolutely achieve that. Even if it's 1 book a month, hey, at least you're reading, at least you're showing up for yourself and reading and accomplishing a book. If it's once a month, you know, or if it's 2 books a month, however many books, 10 books a month, whatever you know that you can possibly achieve. Another thing to truly maximize your reading, to read, you know, more books or to read as many books as you can, is you just have to set that time aside. I know this is probably easier said than done, but it is the God honest truth. You just have to set that time aside to really read and make sure that you're dedicating that time only for you and your books. So a lot of times I will do the timer method where I will set my timer on my phone for like 30 minutes or an hour, however long that I know that I can accomplish in that day. And for that block of time, I will only read. I'll close out of my laptop, out of my phone, I'll shut down all of that and just dedicate that time solely to reading. That ensures that I'm reading something at least every day, and it's really blocking out that time for me, myself, and I, where I can just focus on my reading. So you may want to try that as well. Another method, you can set a page count a day. Sometimes I do that. So a lot of times I'll be like, you know what, I just want to read 50 pages for today or 100 pages today, and then I will dedicate a certain time or know that by the end of the day, I have to have 50 pages read or 100 pages read. Both the timer method and the page count method really works for me. It ensures that I have a block of time that is truly dedicated to me and my books. Let me know if these tips work for you. That's honestly the best way that I can recommend of increasing your reading is by setting time aside. You know, I think of reading honestly as like an exercise. You know, if you play a particular sport, you have to practice every day. You have to dedicate some time to that sport or to that hobby every single day to get better and better. The same is with reading. The more that you dedicate time, the more that you spend on your reading, that is how you get comfortable with reading a little bit faster, with reading bigger chunks. So it's something that you just have to set time aside and really focus on every day. So another reading goal for me is I really want to diversify my reading. Now, I typically read very diverse books anyway, so I'm not talking about like topic matter or author-wise, but I'm talking specifically genre-wise. So I really want to read more graphic novels and more sci-fi. Both of these categories is something that I've dipped my toe in a little bit, but I really want to increase my reading in both of these genres. Both science fiction books and graphic novels is something that I do thoroughly enjoy when I read them, so I definitely want to incorporate that more on my shelves. As many of you know, I read a lot of literary fiction. Probably 95% of my books is literary fiction, so I'd like to dip my toe in a little bit more science fiction and graphic novels just to spice things up, you know? So how can this maximize your reading, you ask? Depending on how many books you read during the month, choose 1 or 2 books from a genre or topic or author that you want to include more into your everyday reading. So for example, if you read a lot of literary fiction like me and you read 5 books out of the month, maybe choose 2 of those books to be graphic novels or 2 of those books to be science fiction, or just 1. However you want to divvy that up, but choose something every month or every other month that you are reading that is challenging your reading and something that you don't read very often. So another reading goal of mine is to participate in more read-a-thons. So I actually don't really participate in very many. I did do the READ-A-THON last year. Books by Chloe hosted it and I absolutely loved it. It was a read-a-thon where you read books by Korean authors or talked about Korea. I loved it, especially since I used to live there. It was super fun. But I do want to do more read-a-thons. It's a great way where you can meet other readers just like yourself and also discover new titles. With that being said, this is a perfect way to truly maximize your reading is to do a read-a-thon. There are so many that occur on BookTube and Bookstagram, so I highly encourage you guys seek out a read-a-thon that best fits your reading style and maybe the style of books that you like or the genre that you like, because again, it's such a great way to meet other readers, to find titles and books that you really enjoy, and to discover a new book community. Another reading goal of mine is that I really do want to listen to more audiobooks. I have the attention span of an apple seed, which is very, very small. Apple seed, I don't know if that's a real thing. I just made that up. But my attention span when it comes to audiobooks, it's not the best, I will admit. It has to be something that is really, really good. And that's simply because I'm like daydreaming about something else or thinking of like things that I have to do around the house or like what I'm gonna eat So my attention span is really, really short when it comes to audiobooks, but I do want to listen to some more. I'm a huge podcast listener, so I will listen to a good podcast. When it comes to books, I just feel like my mind is in 7 different directions, so I definitely want to listen to more audiobooks. A great way to maximize your reading is to listen to audiobooks. So whether you are commuting to work or you're working from home or you're in the kitchen cooking or you're taking a shower, whatever it may be, audiobooks is a great way to incorporate some of that reading, especially if you do have a bigger attention span than I do. I would definitely encourage you to listen to some audiobooks. So another reading goal of mine is to read more books that I truly will enjoy. So this one is a big one because being on Bookstagram, being on BookTube, and looking at a lot of the books that other people are reading, you kind of feel like this FOMO, you know, you don't want to miss out on the most popular book or the newest release that comes out. So what do? You end up reading it yourself. And then when you read it, it becomes overhyped. I'm not trying to throw out any books out there, but cough, Life of Addie LaRue, cough. But I will just say that a lot of times books that are super raved by other people end up being really overhyped. And then I just wasted all of this time reading this book that's supposed to be this glorified best read of the year, and it falls super flat for me. So no more of that. I'm only going to be reading books that I truly have invested my time in and that I truly want to read. I'm not going to follow the crowd. I'm not going to just read it because everyone else is. And it's so easy to fall into that loop. I mean, of course, you always want to read what's coming out, and oftentimes that book is really good. But I will say a lot of books that have been overhyped end up not being that good. And I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but that's just the truth. A way that you can maximize your reading with this is also to do the same. Only read books that you know that you're going to be interested in. And a great way to find that out is to look at book reviews. Go to your Goodreads, look at what people have said about that book to truly gauge whether you think it's going to fit into your niche, whether you think that you are going to be interested in it. Even if it's a super popular book and people are talking about it and saying it's the best book ever, just make sure that it is truly a topic or a subject that you want to read. That is honestly probably the best thing I could tell you guys, is to pick out books and read books that you know you're going to enjoy. Now, disclaimer, every book that you read, I'm sure you're not going to absolutely love it, but at least it's a book that you know you went into, that you picked intentionally because you wanted it, not because anybody else said that you had to read it. Another reading goal of mine is to do some type of buddy read. Now, a buddy read is where you and another person or maybe a few other individuals read a book together and then, you discuss it amongst yourselves, see how you like it. So I'd like to do more buddy reads, whether it's with my friends or just with other booktubers or bookstagrammers out there. So let me know if there is a book out there that you want to read together. I'm definitely open to reading something with you guys, maybe even hosting my own book club / reading with me. I don't know how that would work out, but let me know if you guys would be interested in that and reading a book together, because I think that would be super fun. In addition to maximizing your reading, I encourage you guys to definitely join a book club. I am part of one myself. It's called the Literary League. We read a book every single month and we meet together on Zoom because quarantine. But it is so fun. You get to meet with other individuals that love to read and you guys get to read a book together. So I encourage you guys to either do a buddy read or find some type of book club. That way you can build up a sense of community. My last reading goal is to do a major unhaul. And what this pretty much means is all the books that I have on my shelves, going through them and purging the books that really no longer serves its purpose or that I didn't enjoy or that I just don't want on my bookshelf anymore. Some of these books are honestly just taking up space, so I really need to get rid of them. So I want to make sure that I unhaul some of these books and donate them either to my local library or to a used bookstore, or if you guys want some of them, I can ship them off to you. But I really do need to just make space for books that I do enjoy and for new books, because I have a stack of books that don't even fit on these shelves anymore because everything is so filled. As for maximizing your reading, you can do the same. Get rid of books that are just taking up space or that really doesn't serve any purpose, that you may not have enjoyed. Don't keep them around. Go ahead and donate them. There are so many people out there that probably would really love a book that you gave away or that you donated. Make space for books that you truly are going to enjoy and that you truly want on your shelves. All right, guys, so that is it. Those are all of my reading goals. I like to keep it very short and simple. That way I know that I can achieve these goals for 2021. Hopefully these goals helped you out and you learned a little bit on how to truly maximize your reading. If you have any questions, drop a comment below. Let me know, what are some of your reading goals for the next year? Hopefully it is better than this year. Although I will say that this year was a pretty solid year of reading, maybe because we had all this time on our hands. I don't know, but I did read a lot more than I would have usually, so I am happy about that. Thank you again so much for all of your support. Help me get to 100 subscribers. If you're not subscribed already, go ahead and do that. Also, make sure you follow me on Instagram so you can see all of my bookish posts. I tend to post quite often on there as well, so if you're not following along on my Instagram, go ahead and do that. And if you like this video and you'd like to see more from me, make sure that you give me a big thumbs up. I'll see you next time. Bye!